Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Pitch Pod. I'm your host, Jeff Stebbins. Thank you for coming back and joining us. With us, as always, is my co-host. And, coming around the holiday season, we have Christmas coming up. I'm so thankful to have my co-host, Jolly Joe Janner, here with us tonight. Joe, how are you doing?
Jeff, I appreciate it. Yes, looking forward to the holiday season is upon us for sure. I know you mentioned Merry Christmas. I might mention Festivus. Why not? 'Tis the season. Got the meatloaf cooking in the back. Have a few folks to catch up with and give a call and air some grievances, and then that feat of strength. We'll see how that goes. But I mean, aside from that, I'm thankful to be here, part of the Pitch Pod, Jeff. I have to say so. So again, thank you.
Yeah, well said. Happy Festivus as well. That's a good point. I need to be sure to include that. So jumping from the World Cup straight into the EPL, we're back. We're doing what the Pitch Pod does, focusing on club soccer, English Premier League. And as Joe said in the previous episode, we'll jump around. We'll go to La Liga. If the games that week is La Liga, we'll be there. But for this week, we're going to focus on the English Premier League, and we're going to focus on Arsenal, who's at the top of the rankings and has just been dominant all season long, versus a team that's kind of fallen in the middle of the crowd and you don't necessarily hear as much about these days, but historically is a solid club, which is West Ham. So we're looking at Arsenal v West Ham as our first prediction for this return to the Premier League. And Joe, can you kind of fill us in on both of those teams?
For sure, you mentioned it. Arsenal at the top. I don't think a whole lot of folks, Pitch Pod included, would have said come Boxing Day that's where we would be looking at. So I think that's a pleasant surprise, especially for any supporters of Arsenal and Gunners out there across the world. And then, yeah, as you somewhat suggested, a West Ham United squad that's, you said middle, but I'd say put them pretty far down to the bottom in 16th. Don't know that anybody would have suggested that they would be there. So to get the English Premier League kicked off, I'm excited to look at this match in a sense that it's a team that has a lot of pressure to stay where they are, to continue their success, stay in form, as we see with Arsenal, versus a team that needs to start get going. And you got to figure that a lot of pressure is on the squad, the team, the club, the manager, everybody within that organization to start turning on the pace on the pitch to get this going, to show with what they have to work with. So I'm looking forward to this match.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what's most noticeable about Arsenal in this upcoming match is they're going to be without their star player, their goal scorer. So Jesus is out, and Arsenal's going to be filling that position. So if you're Arsenal, who do you put in that spot to fill in for Jesus, who is their proven goal scorer and has been all season?
Well, you say proven goal scorer, maybe a different question, but as far as I'm almost certain that Arteta will look to Nketiah to play in that striker number 9 role in place of Gabriel Jesus. So we know where they're going to be placing or what they've been playing, because I think the other starters will be what they've been playing to this point in the season. So I think that it won't be too many changes from that starting 11 that's featured in most all the matches in league play. So I think that's where they'll go. And again, yeah, this game is about scoring goals. So how that's going to take place, whether it be through Nketiah or whether it be through Saka stepping up or Martinelli contributing or other factors. I mean, it's going to be Odegaard playing the number 10 role, and then you got your central midfielders and the back line and the goalkeeper that should start and continue to be featured moving forward to this part. But yeah, it's going to be how and when and what Arsenal can do to score goals to win this one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think going into it, Arsenal is definitely the favorite team, definitely the more talented team at this point. But we're kind of at this interesting point in the season where we're coming back from the World Cup break. Maybe there's a lot of player fatigue. As we said, Jesus is out. So if there was a time for West Ham to show up and have a chance against this number 1 ranked team in the Premier League, maybe this is it. And so, Joe, if you were managing West Ham, how would you go about playing this Arsenal team that they're going to be seeing here in the next few days?
Well, before I get into how I would be managing West, I did want to give a shout out to Arteta. The number one magic word in management is no. And the rumor is, or the word is, that he told a lot of his players that wanted to go back to Qatar to celebrate or to be a part of what was going on, said, no, we're back on the training pitch. We're going to get this done. We're going to get back into what we're doing. So I thought that was something to mention. On the other side, if I'm coaching West Ham, who do feature a talented group of players that have really, like I said or suggested before, not perform at the level, underwhelming, if you will. I think that you got to look to the key players in the midfield. I think having Declan Rice, having a Thomas Suchek to hold down the middle, play the holding midfield role that they do is a key part of what they do. Having other contributing factors in the midfield. Fornals, you have. I mean, love to be able to call up Antonio off the bench to be able to play. He's a question as far as his fitness and his ability to get back on there. So I don't know if we'll see him because, I mean, that has been their goal scorer. So I think getting in the mindset that you probably are going to then play a pretty conservative game coming back, like you suggested. I want to have the ball. I want to be able to possess. I want to be able to create chances in ways and look for probably Arsenal to overexpose themselves. Look for those moments where they might just have too many players too high up in advance or attacking. Or if Arsenal has the press on, how can you play around and through and over at times to create those chances if Arsenal's overcommitted?
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. And so, what would you expect West Ham to come, or I'm sorry, what would you expect Arsenal to come out in as far as formation?
I think they'll continue to be in a 4-2-3-1. I think that's mostly where they've played. I mean, at least from a setup perspective, whether that's what it looks like if they are, again, it would be interesting to see what they do as far as pressing. If they do play a little bit more conservatively and step back, or if they're going to put a couple guys up, to press in situations there to try to win the ball back in West Ham's third and be able to quickly transition to attack and score a goal there and or a couple. I think that's probably mostly where they'll be looking to play. But I do think this is going to be a game that starts off slow. I think both teams coming back again. You mentioned it from the international break. Players not maybe as keen to go at it and go hard from the get-go, from the whistle. Maybe be playing to feel out the game early. So I think that's partially what we're going to see is a couple sides that with having time off, coming back now into the league, are going to take their time to build up to do what they're going to be going for. Both teams want to win. I don't want to take that away from either side. Both teams would like to come out here with the win and get the 3 points necessary. One, for Arsenal to stay up top. Two, West Ham to start to build and from the bottom, essentially. So, I mean, 16th, you might as well call it the bottom. And so I think it's going to be a good, well-contested match.
Yeah, I think so too. I think, yeah, Man City is right behind Arsenal, and they want to stay on top. So they do need to get this win, and not consider it a given. However, if I were going to experiment a little bit with my substitutions and see who might be a good fit here and there, maybe give my players some extra rest, this might be the game that I would do that if I was managing Arsenal. After they get a steady lead, of course, nothing too early on, but it might be a good game to experiment, try some things. Um, that's just my personal take on it, but I think it's going to be a good match, a good match to focus on as it's kind of same game but different level, different season, different atmosphere as we transfer from the World Cup to the Premier League. So it's good to get back into it with all the excitement of the World Cup. Hopefully, other people are getting into it as well and joining. But yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about my prediction this week. Joe, what about you?
I all but said it in a sense of what I think is going to happen in this game. Two sides that are going to take their time in terms of doing what they're working towards, build up and execution and creation of chances and scoring opportunities. And you look who could be a goal scorer. I don't see a whole lot of goals being scored in this one. I actually do think that we're going to be looking at a draw. I think a 1-1 draw this fixture, this time of year where we're at, like you suggested, coming back from the World Cup, could be a couple managers experimenting with the substitutions to try to make more happen than they could. But I see in some sense a 1-1 draw being a fitting prediction for this upcoming match.
Okay, I agree. It's going to be on the lower scoring side for sure. However, I don't think it's going to end in a draw. If it does, I mean, that's a big game for West Ham, and that could be the momentum they need. But I'm going to go with Arsenal winning, staying on top of the league, and they're going to win this game 2-0. So 2-0 Arsenal.
Okay. And then you asked the question of goal scorers. Are they from the run of play? Are they getting set pieces, or is there any particular? You want to go further with your prediction, Jeff? Just as a challenge, see if anybody can pick out a goal scorer.
Yeah, you put me on the hot seat here, Joe. Let's go one from a corner, and we'll say one from a PK because it seems like after watching the World Cup, where it seems like every game there's a PK or multiple PKs, we'll say one from the corner, one from a PK. So if I nail that prediction, I mean, come on, give me some credit there.
I think, but yeah, we didn't address that. That is looking. No officials, referees, they're going to be or have been looking. The couple be reintroduced back to the league, and maybe some different interpretations of the laws of the game, if you will be brought back into the English Premier League starting on Boxing Day. So very well. Best of luck to you, Jeff. That would be brilliant if that prediction comes off to be that precise. So best of luck.
You as well. You as well. It's fun to get back to the Premier League for sure. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Please like and subscribe. Feel free to leave comments if we forgot to mention something. And as always, keep pitching out there.
In a game, the round ball, round posts, anything can happen.